Okay, everybody, we are in part 3 of this series of taking some 3D footage and putting it in some live footage using Premiere and Blender. We are now in Blender. I am using version 2.92, so if this looks different than what you're using, it's because I'm on this version. You might be on a later version. Blender is a free 3D piece of software. I highly encourage everybody to download and play with it. It's a heck of a lot of fun. Um, so let's get started a little bit with what Blender is and how to use it. So this is the opening screen. There's your recent files like every program seems to show. And then there are some um, layouts that it will default to depending on which one of these you choose. So let's go ahead and just hit General. And when we hit General, we're presented with this. This is daunting. I remember when I first opened up Blender, I just thought, what on earth am I looking at? What do I do? What are all these? And what's, and how is this? But actually, uh, uh, the Blender Foundation, and it is a foundation. It's because it's a free piece of software. They're not for profit kind of idea. Um, have really improved this program. I mean, it used to be right click to select stuff and stuff. It was just strange. Now you can left click. So if I click over here and then click on there, or I click this thing, or I click that thing, they'll actually light up and you'll see over here what they are. Now 3D is cool. I can't even, if you've never worked in 3D, I can't explain how much fun it is once you start to get the hang of things. Um, and it's fascinating. So what we want to do is understand a little bit about the interface. So let's just talk about how to move around really quickly. Not that you're going to need this yet. So this part of the process is um, like modeling and stuff like that. We're going to get to, uh, but actually moving around is going to be important. So let's cover that. The first thing is using your mouse. You should have a 3-button mouse. If you don't have a 3-button mouse, go get one, because otherwise it's a little bit more difficult and you won't be able to move around nearly as easily. So the first thing we need to know is that left click selects stuff, right? Right click brings up a context menu. It's called a context menu. So it's a menu that just says, hey, you can do some stuff with this stuff here. So if we right click here, we can shade it smooth, or we can shade it flat, or whatever. Anyway, so there's lots of things that you can do when you right click things. Left clicking selects. If we want to move around, we want to orbit around, you hold the scroll button or the middle mouse button and then just move around, just like that. So I'm holding down the scroll button when I do this. And then if you want to sort of pan around or move around in a sideways or up and down fashion, then you will hold the shift button down and the middle mouse button or scroll wheel, which is also usually a button, and you can go up and down. So if you needed to get around your object, then you can hold shift to go up and down, left, right, and scroll. And it's going to work the same. At least the shift and move is going to work the same when we do video stuff. So that's kind of important. Um, so that's the basic. Over here on the right hand side happens to be what is like layers in Photoshop, or yeah, pretty much just layers of stuff. So we've got the camera, although it doesn't matter where they live in here. So we've got the camera, the cube, and the light. So this is the light up here. This is the camera here, and obviously our cube that comes into the default scene. And really quickly, if I hit Shift A, you can see we can bring in all kinds of stuff, and just play around with it. Just start to understand a little bit of how Blender works by just goofing off. And so these things will be added into our layers. So this is important. We're going to cover this layers area. And then down here is where all the settings are. And there's a pile of stuff in here. And some stuff we won't even think about or look at for quite some time. And some stuff we will look at right away. So we'll get into this as we start doing the video stuff. So let's get on with it. Let's do that. Let's get on with the next tutorial is going to be bringing in that video, but I want to just give you a quick idea of Blender. and feel free to click around. I know when people get started in software, they don't, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't want to click anywhere by accident, but I encourage you, just click around and just read some stuff. Like, what's this? Transform. So I have a sphere and we can transform it. So we can move it around here as well. We can rotate it. It's hard to tell it's rotating. And we can scale it if we want. Well, you know. So there's stuff that goes on here. We can add what's called a modifier. So if we add, say, an array modifier, we up the count, and or we can up it or move it, move the offset here and here, and and zoom out. Oh, I forgot to tell you that using the scroll wheel will zoom in and out. So there you go. So there's lots of things to click. Go ahead and click away and mess around, because you can always just go File, New, General, don't save, and you're back to square one, and everything will be back to normal. So play with it. Okay, in the next tutorial, we're going to bring in our clip and start talking about tracking.